spicy tuna roll.
There you go. I'm
excited for a second.
It's really just medium for wasabi. I don't eat fish, but I eat sushi. Makes no sense. Yep, that's called a child that wasn't forced by his mother to eat food, and then in social settings in his early 20s in Houston, it's like, hey, this is kind of a cool scene. Raw sushi, let's try it out. That's all it was. And then it was, hey, this is spicy. That's all I eat. Red gravy is my favorite condiment, which is all hot sauce.
Swagoo, he may not be Dan Orlovsky, but your thoughts on Mike McDaniel's food tastes?
My first thought is I'm confused as hell. I don't know. I got lost in the middle of it. Did he eat a spicy tuna roll, but then said he didn't eat fish? So was there no tuna in the roll? I don't know, babyface. Y'all pose these questions to me like I'm supposed to get inside the head of a guy that sounds like a crazy man when he's talking about food. Food is simple, people. Yeah. It's simple. If it's good, eat it. If it ain't, don't eat it. I don't know what the hell Mike McDaniels was talking about just now.
I need that clipped off and saved somewhere. If it's good, eat it. So let's pivot from food to football, because why not? Time now for a little read and react, and we go back to Miami, where first-year head coach Mike McDaniel, with his interesting food decisions and comments, was asked how his thoughts about Tua, his quarterback, have changed now that he's actually seen him in action.
As far as his game, I think his skill set, tighter areas only enhances his ability. You know, he's an accurate quarterback that really knows how to place the ball where he wants it to be placed. The work we have done, I've been very pleased.
Tim, what do you expect from Tua this season?
Listen, my expectations are that he has his best season yet. Look, the supporting cast is better. The offense, in terms of scheme and how the coach puts him in a position to have success, I think will be better. I think there's an element for me that Tua's been a little bit unfairly judged when you think about coming off the hip injury, being in a situation competing against a 15-year veteran, change at offensive coordinator, dysfunction on the team. And so I think it's going to be a breath of fresh air for Tua Tagovailoa.
Next up, we go to Philadelphia, where head coach Nick Sirianni spoke with Sal Pal about a second-year quarterback, now third-year quarterback, Jalen Hurts.
What I see is a crisper ball. The accuracy I've been very pleased with. And so you can just see him taking strides every single day with his accuracy because of the fundamentals that he has with his feet and his upper body.
All right, Marcus, we talk about this a lot, but what do we need to see from Jalen Hurts to show that he is the guy in Philly?
Sirianni hit on it, and you can see the emphasis that he put on accuracy and his footwork and tying that to his body as he's a thrower downfield. That's what it's going to boil down to. We know Jalen Hurts is a phenomenal athlete. We know they can run an RPO game with him. We know he can hit short, intermediate passes and allow his guys to make plays after that. It's just when those times call for you to be a pocket passer and a guy that can push the rock downfield, will he be able to answer the call? Especially when you have a franchise looking at A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Quez Watkins and Dallas Goedert on the outside. You have to be able to hit those guys with some distance on your throws. And that is where Jalen will be judged. He'll still be a good football player, but now we're concerned about him being a really good quarterback when all things are not great as far as him turning into his athleticism.
A lot of great points there. And Tim, I think that the NFL season's long. There are topics that we cover too much because we don't have anything else to talk about. This one's not one of them, because I think this Jalen Hurts story is really interesting. It has a ton of potential ripple effects if he does play well or if he doesn't play well. So what are your thoughts on Jalen Hurts and how he needs to progress this year?
Yeah, well, I would just kind of piggyback on Nick Sirianni and Marcus on this. We know he's a good football player. Like, plain and simple, he can play football. Yeah. We saw it at the college level, and we've seen it at the pro level. Like, when his ability to compete and play the game is great. But that is a little bit different than playing the position of quarterback. And playing the position of quarterback requires, 3rd and 9, known passing situation, being able to make the right decision, make an accurate throw when they're static in the pocket, being able to play with anticipation accurately in the red zone. Things like that about playing the quarterback position. I think there needs to be enough seen out of Jalen Hurts to feel like, he's not just a guy that's a great athlete playing the position or a good runner playing the position. He's a guy that truly understands how to be a more efficient passer because, ultimately that's what it's going to come down to compete against the best of the best. And we're only talking about Super Bowl contending teams with guys that are able to do that. And I think he's got to be able to prove it. Huge year ahead for Jalen Hurts. Hey, new on NFL Live, this just in from Darius Leonard himself, the Colts All-Pro linebacker who tweeted, "Surgery went well, feeling amazing, and ready to get back going. If you know me, you know I always come back way better than I was. Let's go, man. Ankle feels amazing and can't wait to get back moving. Thanks for the texts and the calls." Of course, that procedure took place earlier today. Good to see that Darius Leonard is already in good spirits. He's a huge part of the Colts. Hey, coming up, Aaron Donald signed for all the money yesterday. He's back on the field today for the Rams' mandatory minicamp. What does this deal mean for the reigning Super Bowl champs? Looking to repeat? We'll find out in just a second here on NFL Live. I got a feeling that Swagoo has some thoughts. From Green Bay to the team that ended their season last year, the 49ers, and the last time that anybody heard from Deebo Samuel, it was Jeff Darlington, who'll have in just a second, when Deebo told Jeff that he had requested a trade from San Francisco. The team has not obliged that demand, but you can see Deebo Samuel is at the team's mandatory minicamp that started earlier today, so let's bring in the man that last heard from Deebo. Jeff, what do we know about the relationship between their star wide receiver / wide back and the organization right now?
Well, Field, obviously it feels like a good thing that Deebo Samuel is out on the field, given the fact that, like you said, he did request the trade. And when I had talked to them, I got no sense that he ever planned to honestly put on a 49ers uniform again. So even if it's for minicamp, that is a good sign. Now, what does this accomplish? The first thing it does is it helps Deebo avoid the fines that would come with missing mandatory minicamp, upwards of $88,000 for the 3-day period. The other side of this, of course, is it provides an opportunity for dialogue between he and the 49ers. And even if it's not in the form of contract negotiations when it comes to actual financials, it is about fostering a relationship that is right now considerably broken. Can that be repaired? Can it be fixed? That is probably the question of the remainder of the offseason when it comes to the San Francisco 49ers.
Well, we certainly get why San Francisco is motivated to keep him around and mend that relationship, because last year he was perhaps the most important and versatile playmaker in the NFL. Look at this. Out of 73 players with at least 50 catches last year, he ranked first in yards per reception at over 18 per catch. And out of 91 players with at least 50 carries, he ranked fourth in yards per rush. All right, so Swagoo, I know that you trust your eyes more than the numbers, but those numbers are eye-popping. What do you make of what those numbers tell you?
Those numbers tell me that Deebo Samuel is the offense for the San Francisco 49ers. And what the playoffs told me last year is that in critical moments, Deebo Samuel was the guy that they wanted to have the ball in his hands, more so than their quarterback, okay? And when you talk about value, the reason why Deebo wants to be known as a wide receiver is because what we've watched. Didn't we just see Tyreek Hill get $150 million and Devontae Adams get paid out like crazy and Stephon Diggs re-up a contract? That's why he wants to be deemed that babyface. But ultimately, when you look at this offense, right, and as much credit as we give Kyle Shanahan, because he's phenomenal offensive mind, has done a tremendous job, has actually had a lot of guys look great in this offense. But ultimately, right now in 2022, Deebo Samuel is the most important player for the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, most important player. Listen, when it's in his hands, and you look at yards per catch, first in the NFL, but depth of target, 65th. So what does that tell you? When it gets in his hands, he's better than everybody else. They hand it to him, and they throw it to him a bunch within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. And look, here's what I'll say in terms of Trey Lance's development and how Kyle Shanahan can use him. Kyle Shanahan's been the best over the last decade at manufacturing completions around the line of scrimmage, within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. And you have a young, inexperienced quarterback. Manufacturing completions is important, but then you put on top of it the fact that the guy who catches the ball can turn it into something great. That helps the quarterback even more. That's why I really think we've heard John Lynch take a pretty solid stance on this in terms of Deebo Samuel not leaving the building.
Yeah, what an offseason it's been if Deebo Samuel is eventually traded. A crazy NFL offseason would just get that much